Tiny Whale, A Fishy Tale by Joshua George. Gerald had so many brothers, sisters, and cousins that he felt quite unimportant. His dad hardly ever took him to play in the seaweed forest. His mom hardly ever read him stories. Even his best friend Gordon didn't remember his name. "Hi, Gordon." "Hi, Gavin." Unbelievable, thought Gerald. I look completely different from Gavin. Gerald was tired of being a small orange fish on a reef full of other small orange fish. So, one day, Gerald decided to set off on an adventure. "Goodbye, Mom." "Goodbye, Gareth." Ridiculous, thought Gerald. I look completely different from Gareth. After a long, tiring, and scary swim, Gerald finally found himself at another reef. He was glad to be somewhere safe. The reef looked like the one at home, but the fish were blue, not orange. As Gerald rested, he watched a group of fish playing hide and go seek. "Hey!" one of the blue fish shouted. "I'm Charlie. These are my friends, Chuck, Chip, Chad, and Chet. What sort of fish are you?" Gerald paused for a second. "I'm not a fish," he said. "I'm a whale." The blue fish seemed impressed. "Yep, I'm a whale," said Gerald, "and I just swam across the whole ocean." "Ooh, wow, that's awesome. Tell us more." "Sometimes I swim down to the bottom of the ocean and catch enormous squid," he boasted, "and I'm not even scared of sharks." "Hey, everyone, come and meet the tiny whale." "I thought whales were bigger." Gerald stayed with the blue fish all day, enjoying the attention and telling tall tales until it was time to go home. The next day, Gerald returned, and soon there was a big crowd of blue fish listening to his stories. "Hey guys, it's Tiny Whale. Is it true you once jumped over a ship? How big is your mom?" Gerald stayed for dinner, which is pretty much like dinner at home but bluer. All the fish gathered in a cozy cave with a small entrance at the top. Gerald was introduced to the oldest and wisest fish of all. He wore a red bandana and an eye patch, and he squinted and blinked as he listened to Gerald's stories. Gerald didn't like the suspicious look in his eye. It seemed like a good time to go home. But it wasn't long before Gerald decided to visit his new friends again. However, this time, when he arrived at the blue fish's reef, it was quiet and empty. Where was everybody? Gerald thought he heard a noise, and then he saw it. A huge boulder sat right on top of the entrance to the blue fish's cave. An eye appeared in a crack at the bottom of the boulder. It was one of the blue fish. "Hey, Tiny Whale," he said, "is that you? We're all trapped beneath this boulder. Thank goodness you're here. Can you move it? We're so lucky we made friends with a whale." Yep," said Gerald. "Lucky I'm a whale. This should be easy." Gerald strained and pushed until his muscles shook, but the boulder didn't move. Gerald pushed and strained until his flippers went floppy. But still the boulder didn't move. "Wait there!" he shouted down the crack. "I'll be right back." Gerald swam faster than he'd ever swum before, and soon he was back home. "Stop, everybody!" he yelled. "Listen!" But nobody stopped. "Listen!" he shouted. But nobody listened. Gerald picked up a shell. "Listen!" he trumpeted. Everybody listened. "I really need everybody's help," said Gerald. "Quick, follow me." The entire school of orange fish sped across the seabed with Gerald leading the way. None of the creatures in the sea had ever seen anything like it before. "We need to move this boulder. There are fish trapped beneath it," said Gerald. "Ready?" he called. "Now!" The fish pushed and pushed and pushed. The boulder moved a tiny bit, then a little bit more, and then, with a sea-shuddering crash, it rolled away from the cave. Out of the cave streamed hundreds of cheering blue fish. "We are free! Yippee! Woohoo! Hooray! Hip, hip, hooray!" The oldest and wisest blue fish came swimming slowly toward Gerald. "Thank you, tiny whale," he said, and gave Gerald his bandana. "But how did you recognize me?" asked Gerald. "Because you're the only whale," said the old fish, as he blinked, or maybe winked. It was difficult to tell. Everybody cheered. Gerald couldn't believe it. Finally, everybody knew who he was. The end.